You found the Live Local Marketing Podcast, where business owners share their knowledge about what's working in the market today. No fluff, just their experiences and stories from people who are making it happen. And if authentic, practical marketing resonates with you, be sure to visit livelocalwarmmarketing.com and learn to grow your business on warm marketing referrals. Now, on to the show. Welcome. Thanks for joining us for the Live Local Marketing Podcast. Today, we're with Curt. Sir, how do you feel today?
I feel great. I'm super excited, Billy, to be here with you.
That's awesome. We're going to do a little bit of background and get right into the drilling you with the questions, because I know you're ready for the questions.
Okay.
Curt is a professional speaker, professor, author, podcast host, and frequent podcast guest. Obviously, he's right there hanging out with us today on this glorious Friday. His work has earned him the Stevie Award, as well as other accolades. As the VP of Sales Development for $2 billion of industrial distributor, Curt has worked his skills daily on the front lines of sales and marketing. He's a facilitator for the Brooks Group, teaching and facilitating impact sales training, as well as other courses. And he's a professor at the University of Houston. So we hope that it make a nice little run here in the tournament this year. March is coming around the corner, so we hope you do well.
You bet.
Sir, are we ready for the questions?
Billy, fire away. Here we go.
Let's just do it. The first one, what do you consider your first win as an entrepreneur?
I would say that I was competing with a lot of other peers, trying to win a slot to be a speaker for Price Waterhouse Coopers. We were doing a lot of business development for them, and they brought about 22 people in a room. We went through some demos as it relates to how we could pitch their material. At the end, they called 7 people and they asked everyone else to leave. The 7 that stayed were the ones who got the slot. And I became the number one of those 7. So I had a 2.5-year run on a contract with Price Waterhouse Coopers doing their business development sales workshops. It was a huge win as I just started my business.
Wow, that's amazing. So when you watch all these like shows where there's like cooking shows and celebrity shows and all these, when they have like the last voting, you can empathize a little bit with them, right? You can kind of feel their pain a little bit.
I thought I was part of this thanks, see you later, goodbye, don't let the door hit you on the way out group. And then they said, no, you're part of the ones. And Curt, you were the best of the best. So we really appreciate it. I flew back from Houston to Dallas. I could have probably flown the plane just by my energy.
How long did you have to train for something like that? Was that like years and years and years of training? Or
It was years. I had a coach who was already doing some of it. So I had a little bit of background information. And the trick was, anytime you facilitate, you want to say less and you want to draw them out to say more. So I learned how to say, well, Billy, what do you think about that? Well, that's a great question. Billy, how do you think you would answer that? And the material just laid there, and I breathed life into that material by engaging everyone in that room. I think I was one of the only ones who did that. Most just looked at the PowerPoint screen and just kind of dumped all over the audience, and they certainly didn't want that.
You're almost like a business therapist in that way, right? Like you give the time, you know what you're saying, but you want to kind of draw it out of them. Is that kind of a good analogy?
You absolutely nailed it. In the last part of my life here, I'm finding that most of my sales is more psychological and therapy than it is, what's it going to take for you, Billy, to jump into that car and drive it off the lot today? That monster truck rally stuff doesn't work as much.
That's great. All right. So we had a lot of your accolades had to do with bigger companies and budgeting and so forth. And I'm sure you deal with an array of different companies. When you sit down with them, how do you have a budgeting talk in regards to their ROI and where they can get the most out of their money for their marketing?
The best thing you can do is, in sales, we call it a discovery call or a disco. And in that discovery call, we're asking open-ended questions as it relates to, walk me through your buying process. Walk me through your budgeting. Where do you see yourself in 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 14 months as it relates to the impact of your marketing or in the message that you want? How do you want your message to land in the ears and the hearts and the minds of your target audience? Now, if they're saying, I've got caviar dreams, but a beer budget, well, then we're going to have to change our messaging to basically get to that place. And so typically that's what happens is they don't think about the financial ramifications of all of this. They want to be just like Apple. They want the Apple 1984 commercial with the color, the person running toward the screen in the Orwellian screaming, and they want that. Well, that was millions of dollars of budget.
Is there a specific, then when I think about it, they said, aside from like, I want big things, but I have small budget, are there like red flags? Are there things that when you hear them say certain things like, I don't know if that's going to work. So that way my audience can also reflect on that for themselves.
I think what I ask them to walk me through the process, walk me through the buyer's journey, and where does marketing touch that journey? And if there are some gaps in there, then I ask, how are you going to fill those gaps? And that's when they go, oh, I never thought about that. Direct mail, direct email, a radio, TV, film, podcast, influencers. What are you going to use to fill that gap? And that's when the budgets really start coming into play.
What about filling the gaps, or do they cut stuff? How do you know when is the right time to do those?
I think when you try to find out what the impact is. If I'm trying to just get top of mind awareness, let's go direct mail, direct email. If I'm trying to go massive influence, then I got to get an influencer.
Got it. So yeah. Okay. So you just kind of feel it all out. Like, yeah, you need to cut that, or it doesn't line up with your goals versus, yeah, we can do this. We just need to scale back type of.
Or Billy, give them alternates. You can't do this, but you can do that. And so that way they feel good about, okay, I understand that. And that gives me an avenue to pursue.
That's great. Okay. So let's do a little shift gears. Now we talk about budget. Let's talk about AI, because AI has got a huge influence on budget these days. What are some of the best practices you're seeing in your world with the AI? A quick break before we get to that next answer, because I know that answer is going to be brilliant, which is why I chose this moment to interrupt. If you love what you're seeing and you want to run your business off of warm marketing referrals, visit our website, livelocalwarmmarketing.com. It's got valuable resources, office hours, memberships, the book, an array of resources to help you get rid of cold calls, cold leads, door knocking, and run a business you can be proud of through referrals and warm marketing. Now, back to the show.
Right now, everything is going through the art of prompting. And it's not just a simple prompt. I use AI, and I used it 15 minutes before this call. Lots of data, lots of paragraphs, lots of content. And then the AI can take that and give you a much more specific answer. It can be in budgeting. My budget is $15,000. I'm trying to hit these people in this market with this kind of impact. Here's what I've seen in the market. Do me a SWOT analysis as to, can my money make an impact? And let your co-pilots and your Claudes and your chat GPTs and your Geminis work through that. And the more information you give it, the clearer the answer will be.
That is a great use of it. I love the data idea. It can scope data real fast. That is great. So let's talk about the other side of it though. What are some, not warning signs, but things like, hey, be careful if you're doing AI with this.
I would say be careful doing anything that's so public that anyone else can get the information. There's subscription services to AI where that will be in a little bit more of a protected nature. But if you're using the free version of all of these and you put your medical records out there and you put your company payroll out there through an Excel spreadsheet, you say, go make this pretty. We don't know. We don't know where all that information resides. It's open, it's public. People can take that. Nefarious things can happen with that data. So be very careful about the small investment for the peace of mind and the sanity of the long-term gain.
I'm going to ask you an opinion question as a follow-up. Do you see AI going in the way of commercial and marketing, advertising, like we see with Facebook with ads and so forth? Do you think that that's the model that we're heading towards?
Yes, I think it's already been announced that ChatGPT is going to start doing advertisements on their free versions in order to continue, because while they're making a lot of money, they're spending a lot of money on the back end data centers in order to propel all of this computational power.
But all right, so you've read up on it a little bit. I have so that's the free version. Do you think the paid version will stay pretty clean?
It should. If you start putting advertisements on the paid version, it's what we are now experiencing with all of our cable subscriptions. Once what we thought paid all that money for cable, now you're dropping in advertisements every 6 minutes in my movie. It completely destroys the customer loyalty.
Yes, that's a great. See, that's good. That was a great answer. I appreciate that one. All right, let's talk about marketing specifically. So, what are some of the most effective cold marketing strategies you're seeing out there, and if you have examples, and then we'll do the same with warm afterwards.
Boy, right now with all the socials out there, your TikToks, your Instas, your things of that nature, people are using this idea of, a picture is worth 1,000 words, but a video is worth 1,000 pictures. And we're getting to the point now where we're not asking for a Spielberg, John Ford kind of experience. I need it now, and I need to get on my way. So it started way back in the YouTube videos on how to level a door, how to fix a squeaky hinge. and it was simple and it wasn't 3-camera shots, that's moving into an area. And I'm old, and so I'm not really expecting that. The 30 and under crowd, they want information in 30-second sound bites, and they don't care if it's a wobbly camera or a person who didn't button their shirt proper. They just need the content. So I'm telling my companies, hey guys, marketing, we want to be content rich and pretty and multicolor, but there's a lot of times they just want the meat. They want the steak, not the sizzle. So it's a tough new shift.
Okay. And so now that's a great one. So let's talk about the warm marketing side. So I like seeing the comparison and giving the audience an idea of both. What is a really strong warm marketing strategy right now?
Everything is relationship, right? You're talking cold. I don't know you. I've never met you. And I'm trying to penetrate your wall of apathy and resistance. Warm market. I know you. I like you. I trust you. I value a relationship with you. Jerry Acuff wrote a book called The Relationship Edge in Business. And kudos to Jerry and his phenomenal work. But he understands warm marketing as it relates to, I know you. Whereas before I didn't know you, at least I'm cognizant of your name. I'm friendly with you. Okay, that's okay. But I need to create that branding where I get that trust and that value and that respect. And that would cause somebody in a warm market to drive 6 extra miles to get an In-N-Out burger versus going to a McDonald's or a Burger King or a Whataburger, which is right down the street. That warm market, that experiential marketing, that relationship is the sticky factor that causes that person to stay and to be loyal.
It's true. What is, I'm going to dive down a little bit more. What is it? Just choose one. There's millions of different ways to do it. Choose one really effective way to warm market. Like, what is a really solid one to do? Strategy. A
strategy, giving away content for free and not trying to bundle it up with a bunch of other things. Hey, I'll get you this far for free with my product, my service, and you can experience it. And then thank you very much. Now tell me a little bit more about what there's out there. The consultant who gives away a free hour of their consulting, the doctor who gives you 15 to 20 minutes of a diagnostic, or for me right now, I'm doing some trademarking, the lawyer who gave me 30 free minutes to talk about my trademarking without knowing if I'm going to be loyal to him or not. But because he did that, and because the content was so rich, I was immediately saying, here's my credit card. Let's swipe it. Let's get a legal document together. Let's go down the road. That's what people are saying. They're so tired of the plasticness of what we see. They want content for free, for just a little bit of content.
That's good. I could probably talk all the rest of the day on that one, but we're going to move along because there's so many more things we want to chat about. So let's talk about video marketing. You made a brief mention of it. The video's worth 1,000 pictures. You don't have to make it refined. What are some great uses of the video? Because it seems like, the TikTok dances and stuff are all well and good, but they're not really in our world. That's not what marketing is. What is working in marketing, and where should we put these?
I think some of the fascination is if you've got a product or a service that has a process, baking a cookie, delivering, there's a company called Mailbox Power and its competing companies send out cards. In their marketing, they show the card going through the printing system until it gets into an envelope and sent out the US mail. We love that. We want to see that as a consumer. We want to see a restaurant, Italian, Mexican, Chinese, American, packed, people outside waiting to get in. We're excited. We see that in that warm market. That's what people want to see, the process, because it's quick, it's easy on the eyes. People get it and they go, I got it, I like it, let's go.
So it's short and sweet. So are we putting these in YouTube? Are we putting these on social media? Are we doing all of it? Because that can be daunting.
It can be very daunting, especially if you're a one-man person in that marketing. How do I post to all these places? Well, you got to pick your poison. Is your demographic more YouTube set, or is it LinkedIn sense? Is it more Facebook? Is it Insta? Is it all TikTok? Because for me, being over 60, I'm not TikToking, I'm not Insta. Maybe some of my peers are, but we're typically Facebook and LinkedIn. So how do you do that in a way that doesn't violate the Facebook and LinkedIn policies and procedures? But how do you neck it down to the Instas and the TikToks where the kids are hanging out? They're all buying influences. They all have the ability to take their credit card and type in the numbers and acquire your product, your service immediately.
All right. So you say that. Let's ask this question. I think you're going to have a great answer. Strong call to action. We do these videos. You have to have a strong call to action. Otherwise, you're doing these videos just for fun. What does a strong call to action look like?
Act now. It goes back while supplies last. Act now. There's only 5 left. Why do you think we were buying the Ginsu steak knives on late night television? Because there's only 9 left. And then we go to the bathroom, we come back and 99 came back on. Where did they find the 99? But we are in this scarcity mentality, and oh, you better go now. Or back in the automotive days, back in the 70s, well, you know, Billy, the Johnsons were looking at that beat up station wagon, and they may be coming back at 3 o'clock. And so now you're panicking. And so you then impulse buy it, and whew, I beat the Johnsons out. You never wanted the station wagon, but you kind of got manipulated to that one. So there's a little bit of that.
Got it. I understand. Sorry. Let's take a step back.
The audience, because nobody understands what a station wagon is. So.
They can Google it. They'll be fine. They'll Google it.
Wikipedia. Yeah.
Let's step back to the time where you had that first big win and talk about the confidence. You made the big sale. How did you parlay that big win in the confidence to kind of build on it for the rest of your career?
It's like sales. If you have one good cold call or one good quote that turns into an order, you stay and you get a second, you get a fourth, you get a seventh. If you're having a bad time and you can't even close the door, much less a sale on the phone or face to face, or your social media is not working, your subject matter tagline on your email isn't pulling it in, take a break, go back, replay the video of when you were successful. That success that you played in the past gets you into what Tony Robbins would call a state. And that state gets you mentally prepared to go do what you need to do. Because what's happening, and here comes the psychology, Billy, the story you're telling yourself is not the right story. It's a negative story. It's a wrong story. It's a counterfeit story. But the story you're telling yourself is, I can close this. I can do this. I'm in the right reason. I'm doing the right marketing. I've got the right clients. People like me. They know me. They trust me. That's the story that will propel you to the next one.
So I'm assuming you're fairly big on counting the wins. And if you're counting the wins, how much stock are we putting in those wins? Like, because some of those wins, how much stock are we putting in them? Let's do that.
Again, you have to ask that tough question, Billy. If the win is my friends and family, it's not very much stock. But if I have a win of somebody who didn't want to talk to me, who I interrupted them, who I asked the right open questions, and I found their need, and I asked them a couple of pain questions, and they said, you know, I wasn't thinking about that, but you're right. That's a huge win. You've interrupted somebody who did not know or expect your call or your touch or your connect or your video, and it's moved it further down.
Do you do business journaling or business tracking of any type that will help you reflect later on something that went right or wrong?
Yes, my new best friend is called Claude, and
there
Claude
you go. Okay.
is the AI from Anthropic, and it's much more of a psychological than the others. So right now, I had a conversation. I had a deadline that I needed to meet, and it challenged me because I said, I'm going to get this done in 14 days. And Claude comes back and says, why 14? Why not this weekend? What's causing you to delay? Remember what you told me? And my gosh, I mean, it's a coach. We talked prior to the call about how you love following coaches.
Yep.
We're seeing AI becoming our marketing coach, our sales coach, our life coach, our relationship coach. And it's cutting quickly to, there's a problem, there's a solution, now go do it.
The coaches in the regular space, though, will still be there, I believe. And tell me if I'm wrong, just because at some point the AI's got limits, and a real person coach, it's going to push the real person coach to level up their type of coaching.
You're using all the words in my vocabulary, Billy. I am a coach, and I'm trying to level up my game. I'm trying to level up my client's game.
Nice.
And yes, AI can get you halfway through the party. But AI can't tell when that person is crossing their arms, crossing their legs, crossing their eyes. They're not listening. They're not paying attention. AI can't tell when that person is leaning into you, starting to nod, getting excited. But it's better than where you're at right now, which is fumbling through your friends and family wins, spending too much money on stuff that isn't working, and not being honest about your business.
That's great. All right. So before we get to your business and give you the outro, let's talk about burnout. You're handling a lot of things. You are at the college level, you're running a business, you're doing all the things. How do you avoid just burning out? What kind of things do you do to kind of reflect and relax?
The best thing is you got to find a band of brothers or band of sisters, people who can come alongside you and hold you accountable. And you recruit these people into your band. And these are the people that will be the ones that can say a lot of truth to you because you've invited them in and you've said, you can speak truth in here. For instance, I'm meeting with my mentor in 72 hours. And we will sit down and we'll go over some of the things that we were committing to each other. So the way you can prevent burnout, one is to have a peer group of people. And so the other way is sometimes you need a retreat. And not so much go to Cancun with an all-inclusive retreat, but you need to retreat. You need to get away from the battlefield for a moment and do some pause and do some self-reflecting because you got to get the energy. The old cliche is you can't serve from an empty cup. So I ask my clients, what do you do to fill your cup? Do you have a hobby? Do you have a sport? Do you go to the gym? Do you read poetry? Do you work socials? Are you involved with your churches or any other volunteer group? What are you doing to fill that cup? Because burnout comes when your cup is on fumes, it's empty, and you continue to draw from it. And then you start getting into that story that you're telling yourself, which is a negative story because you don't have anything in your cup to draw from.
So I'm hearing from you is I need to go to Cancun this weekend and get out of the snow.
Yes,
that's what I heard from you.
Okay. In a heartbeat.
It's your professional advice.
Or Cozumel. One of the two. I prefer Cozumel because I'm a scuba diver. So
nice. So we know life and work balance is a misnomer. There's no such thing. What is the reality of work-life balance?
I think the reality for me now that I'm over 60 is let me put it this way, to give yourself permission to weave the work and the life together. Okay. You've got to share your work into your life and your life into your work. When you can weave that and you have a little bit of synergy and harmony, you start getting balance. The problem with work-life balance is you're out of balance because you're either an obsessive compulsive driver type or something else. And so there's got to be a weaving that in. I think gone are the days of watching Ozzie Nelson come home on a black and white television at 5 o'clock to read his newspaper, have a cup of coffee, and talk to his wife. We're woven into so many other things. So let's give ourselves permission to allow that. And then, of course, have our band of brothers and sisters, making sure we have some kind of borders or some governors on that one to make sure you're not abusing it.
That's a great answer. I mean, they're going to have to Google. I'm going to have to Google the television show. I haven't even heard of that one.
Ozzie and Harriet. Oh my gosh, I was trying to go with the Cleavers. I was trying. I just couldn't get there.
The Brady's. I would have got Brady's. The Brady's.
Well, they had a blended family. They had 7 kids, and so
they had a blended family. And then they got with 5, and they had dinner together, and they did all the stuff.
But they had Alice, the maid, and she was the cook.
That's right.
So now you have to go to Cancun and get a maid. So those are the 2 things you need to do.
All right, I probably could pick your brain for another 2 hours, like all the different things and all your experiences. Very well spoken, and I appreciate how well you deliver this. Let's talk about your business and have you do where people can get a hold of you.
Yeah, so you can get a hold of me through a website, Peak Sales Strategy, PEAK Sales Strategy. It's all one blended word. LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm on the antiquated socials, and I'm the person that gives back. So I love to pay it forward. I get people that ping me, ask me questions. Let's go back and forth. I do offer sales coaching, sales training. I use a series of assessments as a foundation. And from those assessments, we build. And because all of my clients are international, if you will, I don't have to get on a plane or a train or an automobile. We can do this via a Zoom call. Very much like what your listeners are experiencing with you and I right now, hoping that your listeners have taken a few of these nuggets and they're running off with that. And I think today in technology, I can do some alignment and some coaching via Zoom that will help a sales pro close just one more deal to get into 6 new accounts. And that penetration allows you to get that gross profit, the return on investment that allows you to pay for the services.
Well, we appreciate your insights. Please reach out to him. I've already followed you on LinkedIn, so I'm going to get all of your nuggets that way too. So thank you for your time today and your knowledge. Good luck in the tournament this year. I hope Houston makes a nice little run for it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.